Hello everyone, and my name is Erin. Welcome back to my channel on finding your path to your best emotional and physical health. Today's topic is going to be a continuation of our series on cognitive decline and how to manage some of the things that cause that. So if you like what you hear, please share this information with as many people as possible because we'd like this information to get out. And also, don't be afraid to subscribe to get the next videos as they come out, because this is going to be rather a long one because there's lots of topics involved in cognitive decline. Also, don't be afraid to download my 5 free videos on finding your path to your best emotional physical health. That will kind of give you some tips on things that you can make and change in your life in order to help you live healthier and happier. So without further ado, let's get into today's topic. I wanted to talk a little bit more about diet and lifestyle. We had talked in general in a previous video about how overall diet affects us and some of the ways we can return insulin sensitivity. But another thing that we need to kind of look at is gut health. Gut health it's a big topic, and we could be talking about this for a long, long time. So I'm going to try to keep it short and sweet to just what you need to know. So the gut is super, super important not only for our cognitive health, because it protects us from the influx of problematic bugs and chemicals and toxins and all of that. But it also helps us develop our neurotransmitters like our serotonin and our norepinephrine that kind of help keep us calm and relaxed and interacting with our world in an appropriate way. So we really have to maintain our gut health. And we'll talk a lot about, and not in this specific video, but in others probably talk about how our gut health is impacted by what we eat. And our gut bugs is what I like to call them, or our probiotics, if you want to use the fancy name, but basically the bacteria that live in our gut that help us digest things. When we disrupt their flora, we end up with a whole host of problems. So that's true as well for cognitive decline as it is for many, many other things. But I want to talk specifically about inflammation today, and inflammation in the gut, which some of it which can be related to probiotics and stuff like that. So our gut is really, really important, like I said. And when we get what we call leaky gut, or where it can no longer, the cells get these gaps in between them in our small intestine, and when those start to expand, they let a lot of toxins through. I mean, the gut is actually designed to protect us from our environment, much like our skin is, because when we were hunter-gatherers, who knows what we ingested? We had to ingest the things we needed to ingest, to survive, and it wasn't maybe always the cleanest, and there were probably bacteria and viruses and all kinds of things associated with our food that we needed to protect our bodies from. So our body developed ways to kind of manage that for our survival. So when we put things in our body that disrupt that, and disrupt those joints between those cells, then we end up with additional problems. So leaky gut is what they call one of them. Okay, that was just kind of one of the terms that have kind of come out. So if we've already kind of eliminated simple carbs, like we talked about in the last video, as far as improving our insulin sensitivity, and we get rid of the white flour and the pasta and the breads, candy, cake, processed food, those things, if you've already kind of gotten rid of those, or anything with high fructose corn syrup, then you're well on your way to healing that. So we have to kind of be conscious of other things that we take that have wheat in them. Okay, so wheat is somewhat problematic because of the way it's produced in this country. So, and this is in the U.S. Other countries have less of a problem with this, thankfully, because they have some rules around that. And I don't know all the specifics, but I know enough that we got some challenges here, so we have to be a little bit more conscious of what we're eating. So wheat a lot of the times has been genetically modified. Okay, you might see GMO wheat and those kinds of things, and in some countries that's not allowed, so they don't have that problem. So genetically modified wheat is changed in order to increase its like fiber and its gluten proteins and those kinds of things in order to kind of give it a more oomph and make it rise quicker, or anything it is to make production of bread products a little bit faster, because again, they want to sell more and do what they want to do with these items because they want you to ingest them, right? So the other issue that a lot of times comes with wheat and some other things is the fact that we have what we call Roundup ready wheat, which means that we can use Roundup or glyphosate on the weeds around the wheat without damaging the wheat. Good for the wheat product, not so good for the humans that then ingest the glyphosate with the wheat. There's a lot of countries now that don't allow glyphosates to be used because of the health implications that they found. Unfortunately, in the United States, we still are allowed to use that, and there are numerous factions kind of working on fighting some of those things because it's proven to be not very good for our health. So we kind of watch for that. And even though you can kind of try for organic, you still might end up with some glyphosates. So when you have what we are now figuring out is not celiac disease, we're not talking about that, but talking about a sensitivity to gluten because of the excess proteins, the glial proteins in gluten, which can cause irritation of the gut lining, you can end up with a large number of disorders. And I'm going to read you this list so I don't miss any because it's a long list. And yes, there will be a lot of crossover into all kinds of things, but when you have a large number of these, you might want to consider what's kind of going on in the gut and see what you can do to heal your gut. So the big one is going to be GI issues, okay? You're talking about your diarrhea, constipation, anything like that. Irritable bowel syndrome, those kinds of things. Fatigue. Anytime you're not ingesting the foods that you need to eat properly, you're going to have fatigue. Bone and joint pain. Of course, that comes from the inflammation, the kind of where we're allowing toxins in the body, right? And arthritis, osteoporosis. That has to do with the malabsorption of some of the things that are kind of going on in our body because we either absorb them and they go out right away, or they're not utilized appropriately due to some of the disruptions in the gut lining. Liver problems, of course, because liver's trying to detoxify, because if you're taking in more than you should, then it's going to have a heavier burden. Anemia, anxiety, and depression, that because it disrupts the serotonin. Neuropathy, which again has a whole host of problems. Chemicals and toxins that go into our body can disrupt the communication of the nerves. Migraines, seizures, infertility, canker sores, and skin rash. And there's probably more. That was just the list that I was looking at the other day when I was studying this. And it is problematic, all of those things. And they're all toxin and inflammation related. So we kind of want to monitor that and figure out how to reduce the effects of gluten on our body. Now, one of the easiest ways to do that is to try a 3-week test without gluten, but you need to, that means no bread, no rice, no anything that would contain gluten. But that doesn't mean eat gluten-free processed foods. Those have a different issue. We won't even get into that. So, and you can, if you do this, you can expect a possible gluten withdrawal where you don't feel very good for the first week. Because like anything else, when you kind of withdraw those proteins and what your body's used to having, it's like, okay, now what do I need to do? I need to replace them with something. So we kind of need to be a little bit conscious of that. But if you can get through the first week, and then the next 2 weeks, you can kind of see how your body responds. And then if you want to, you can try adding gluten back and like breads and stuff like that and see what your body does. Depending on how well you've healed or if you're sensitive, you may notice some gut reactions. That doesn't mean you have to totally eliminate breads and stuff like that. You can kind of improve your guts protection. And once you've kind of got that back, you can use, of course, stuff in moderation and use gluten in moderation, because then you're less likely to have reactions once you've healed that gut. One of the favorite things I use to kind of heal a gut is a collagen supplement. So collagen is one of the building blocks of all kinds of things. It has all kinds of health benefits. So when you do that, it kind of helps heal that gut lining. And then also, of course, consider some probiotics with a prebiotic. And I don't have a particular brand that I like. I've used all kinds of things. So the best way actually to get probiotics is to eat probiotic rich foods like kefir and kimchi and kombucha and sauerkraut. If you don't like some of those things, find at least one you like and eat it on a regular basis. Yogurt is also good. You have to be careful because a lot of stuff is pasteurized and then they don't have a lot of the good bacteria that you're looking for. Or take a supplement. That works as well. So those are my tips on starting to reduce the inflammation in the gut and therefore absorption of our toxins. There is also some tests you can do. Unfortunately, they're probably not covered by insurance, but there are some options to do that through a health practitioner that kind of manages these things. A functional medicine practitioner is your best bet. And they can help you get some of those if you're really worried about this and kind of want to know what your gut permeability is. So thank you for listening today, and hang in there with all these changes where you're considering for managing your health. And if you have any questions, please connect with me in the comments below, and I'll see what other information I can dig up for you. Also, please connect with me on the website if you're looking for some support in making some of these changes in your life. Thank you so much and have a great day.